Hello guys, welcome back to our channel Mo and Ash Vibes. Now we know that a lot of people want to immigrate to Canada. However, a lot of immigration programs require you to have a job offer in Canada, which makes it a little bit difficult for people to immigrate to Canada because everybody does not have a job offer. So in this video, we are going to talk about the programs that do not require you to have a job offer, which means that you can immigrate to Canada even if you do not have a job offer. So we are going to talk about these programs in two parts. We are going to cover some of the programs in today's video, and the remaining programs we are going to cover in our next part, which is part 2 of the video. Before we start talking about these programs, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please hit the subscribe button and like the video and also share the content. So let's get started. First, we are going to talk about Saskatchewan province. So in this province, there is an international skilled worker category. There are two subcategories under this category that does not require you to have a job offer. The first subcategory is occupation in demand, and the second subcategory is Saskatchewan express entry. So let's first talk about occupation in demand. This category is for people who do not have a job offer in Saskatchewan, but they are highly skilled in occupations that are very high in demand in the Saskatchewan province. In order to be eligible for this category, you must score a minimum of 60 points out of 110 points in the SINP assessment grid. Also, you need a minimum score of CLB4 in your language assessment. Some employers, they might ask for a higher score, but minimum at least you need a CLB of 4. You must have completed your post-secondary education, your training or internship, and the degree or the certificate or anything, the diploma that you have earned, that should be related to your occupation. And since your education is going to be outside of Canada, so it should be equivalent to Canadian studies, so which means it should be comparable to Canadian studies, which is why you should get your education assessed from a designated institution. And then you should have a minimum of 1 year of experience over the past 10 years. This experience should be full-time. Your work should be related to your education and occupation. The occupation should be high in demand in Saskatchewan, and it should be related to that occupation that you are interested in. There is also an excluded occupation list. Make sure that your occupation is not on that list. If there are any licenses required for your occupation, you may need to provide proof of professional status or the eligibility for licensure. Also, another thing that you have to provide is your proof of settlement funds. So you should be able to show that you have enough funds to support yourself and your family, and then you have plan of staying in Saskatchewan itself. So you have to provide the proof of funds and the settlement plan as well. So this is one subcategory under international skilled worker category in Saskatchewan where you can apply to immigrate to Canada without having a job offer. Another subcategory where you can apply for the same is Saskatchewan express entry. In order to be eligible under this category, you must have a valid express entry profile number and a job seeker code. In this case as well, you must score a minimum of 60 points on the SINP assessment grid. For your language requirements, you must meet the federal express entry language requirements. You must have completed your post-secondary education or training of a minimum of 1 year according to the Canadian education standards. And since this education is going to be outside of Canada, so you have to get your education assessed. The degree or the certificate that you will earn, it should be related to your intended occupation. And again, in this case as well, you have to make sure that your intended occupation is not in the excluded list of occupation. Similarly, your work experience should be in a job which is not listed in the excluded occupation list. The minimum need for the work experience is that if you are applying for a skilled professional, you should have a 1 year of work experience in the past 10 years. For skilled tradespeople, you should have 2 years of work experience in a skilled trade in the past 5 years. And if you are applying for a Canadian experience class, you must have 1 year of work experience in Canada in the past 3 years. Another thing to note here is that the work experience that you are going to show, it should be related to your previous education. So make sure that it is related. Similarly, your intended occupation, that should also be related to your previous education and previous work experience. Again, in this case as well, you may need to show a professional status or a proof of eligibility for licensure for your job. And also you have to show your settlement funds and plan. So now this was another program where you do not require to have a job offer in order to immigrate to Canada. Now let's move on to our next program where you do not require a job offer, and that program is Nova Scotia's Labour Market Priority Stream. This stream selects candidates who are in the Federal Express Entry System, and the candidates who are selected are the ones who meet the labour market needs of the province, which means who meet the labour market needs of Nova Scotia. In order to be eligible for this stream, you must receive a letter of interest from Nova Scotia nominee program within the Express Entry System. You should submit your application within the 30 calendar days of the date on which the letter of interest was issued to you. And as we know that there are different express entry streams and each stream has its own requirements. So you have to make sure that you meet the minimum work requirements of the express entry stream for which you have qualified. Along with that, you also have to make sure that you have a valid express entry number and you meet the minimum requirements of the express entry pool. Also, you have to show that you have enough funds to support yourself and your family. So you have to provide your settlement funds proof as well as your settlement plan. Also, wherever you are residing at the time of your application, you must be able to show that you have a legal status in that country. For example, let's say you are a citizen of one country, but currently you are residing in another country and you are applying from that country. Then you should be able to show that you have a valid legal status in that particular country from where you are applying. So this was another program that does not require you to have a job offer. Next on the list is Alberta Express Entry Stream. Now there is an accelerated tech pathway as well under the Alberta Express Entry Stream, but today we are not going to talk about that since that pathway requires you to have a job offer. Today we are going to talk about the general Alberta Express Entry Stream because this stream does not require you to have a job offer. So basically, in order to apply under this category, you first have to make your Express Entry profile. Whatever information that you will put in your Express Entry profile, Alberta may select candidates and send them a notification of interest. So basically, in order to apply for this category, you must have an active Express Entry profile. The primary occupation that you are going to show in your Express Entry profile should be the one that somehow helps Alberta in their economic development and diversification. In your application, you must also state that why you are interested in immigrating to Alberta permanently. So basically, you should show that why you chose Alberta to move or immigrate permanently, and also that it is a permanent move for you. Also, you must score a minimum of 300 CRS points in order to be eligible. Although if you already have a job offer in Alberta, or if you have a work experience in Alberta, or if you've done your education in Alberta, that increases your chances of receiving a notification of interest. But it is not a mandatory requirement, so it's still worth giving it a try. If French is your first language, that also increases your chances. And if you have a sibling or a parent or a child who is a Canadian resident or a citizen currently living in Alberta, that increases your chances as well. So these are some of the programs through which you can immigrate to Canada and you do not require to have a job offer, which I think is a perfect opportunity because finding a job in Canada sitting in another country is sometimes difficult and it's not possible for everyone to find a job and then immigrate to Canada. So I think these programs give those people a perfect opportunity to immigrate here even if they do not have a job offer. Similarly, in part 2 of our video, we are going to cover some more programs that do not require you to have a job offer in order to immigrate to Canada, so stay tuned. If you have any more questions related to any of the programs, feel free to comment in the section below. Now I will see you in our next video. Until next time, ta-da!